Destination Newry, I'm Rowan Hand. You are enormously welcome to our morning flagship programme going out across the world. We're big in Montreal, Mullabon and Mayo Bridge, and we've just lost your mic there, James, if we can slip it back in again there. I can maybe do that for you. Let me do that. There we are, hold steady. I have James McAreavey with me, and keep that loose. James is with me from the Newry Maritime Association, and really the reason I've invited James, it's always good to see you, James, you're welcome. But one of the things I noticed around the town, dear friends, there's a great growth in Newry nautical branding, where we see posters up now designed to reflect our nautical past, and designed too in a substance and in a way that will withstand the weather. And it's out there in the open, saying to everyone who passes by the Albert Basin, everyone who passes by the canal, this is the Newry we're proud of. You're beginning to, well, you're well along the first lap of roaring Newry's past and taking a pride in it.
Well, that's a very good encapsulation, Rowan, just what you're after saying. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to stimulate people, raise the awareness of the past. People like ourselves are well aware of that past, but there are so many, particularly the younger people, who know absolutely nothing about it at all.
It's almost as though we were never a nautical town.
That's right.
But once upon a time, we were more important than Belfast.
That is very, very true. And I mean, I was at the annual general meeting of the Warrenpoint Harbour Authority on Tuesday, and that thought struck me as I listened to the report. It was their 40th annual report, which coincided obviously with the 40th anniversary of the closure of Newry. Warrenpoint took up the baton, and the thought struck me that as I listened to Peter Conway talk about record tonnage of 3 million tonnes, and they doubled the profits in the last 12 months, as well as investment in their own infrastructure. And the thought struck me that this was the legacy of the foundations laid down by our Newry seamen, dockers, port workers.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. But you don't just dally in the past, because I know you have an active programme of bringing school children into Warrenpoint Port to see at first hand what modern port traffic and port business is about. And the port cooperates wonderfully with you in that.
Well, we're greatly assisted there by the Warrenpoint Harbour Authority and also by Seatruck, Seatruck ferries. And we had a group down, Rowan, on Monday from Mount Norris Primary School. And the Captain Paul Matthews, gave them a marvellous tour of Seatruck Panorama. And he had the chief engineer and the chief officer, and between them they showed the children all around, explained everything, and gave them a lovely lunch.
Oh yeah.
And you know, it was just brilliant, and the children, you could see, you know, it was something totally different for them, you know.
When those little ears would have heard the noise from the deep bowels of the ship.
Oh, when they were there, Rowan, you know, at close quarters, you know. But they really enjoyed it, and to date we have visited 40 schools. 40. We're doing 2 on Monday. We're finishing off a programme in Cooley, in the Cooley Peninsula. There are 10 primary schools from Tuaneaumeath right round to Ravensdale. And on Monday we'll do Grange and Carlingford, and that will be the 10 schools done.
It's, as I say, you're investing in the future by telling them of the glory of the past. And to what extent are the seeds beginning to germinate, the shoots beginning to come up? Because we have been dormant in relation to the port of Newry for so very, very long.
Yeah.
It's almost that you've just caught it in time.
Well, again, Rowan, you've hit the spot there. We can see now the nucleus of a maritime brand starting to emerge. If you look at the DSD funded schemes that we've had along the canal, from the Linnenhall Gate revamped, the Navi Memorial, the Docker unveiling on the 26th of July, and now in the first week in April, in the first week of July, we have got the trading place.
This fabulous sculpture.
From Chris Wilson.
Yeah. And this is a larger than life kind of thing. This is a huge thing.
This is a huge thing. And we'll also have the sighting of the wrought iron bench that the blacksmiths made last October.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now that happens in the first week in July, and along with the opening of the walkway in the public realm scheme, it's going to open the whole area up along the quays for the benefit of the people.
What you've done is huge, and that whole development is beyond words with the handsomeness and the pride that's growing again down around that wonderful part of Newry.
And then we've also got, Rowan, we've also got, as you are well aware, the 2020 interest group.
Yes, New Vision. And they're all younger people too, which is nice.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And they've got such a plethora of ideas that can be developed and brought forward. One of the things that would interest you that we're currently, we have asked the council to assist us with, is the reinstatement of O'Rourke's name on the wall in the Albert Basin.
Down at the basin where the Sternall place used to be.
Correct.
Ted Braham was the Sternall man
Ted
who was
Braham
there.
was the man, and Jerry Rankin was
Rankin.
in O'Rourke's.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's they used to have their name emblazoned on the wall.
They did, right across that.
With the orange background and the black lettering.
High rising behind it, the mounds of coal that
That's
had
right.
been taken in. When I don't know, I might have told you this before, but when I went to Garston to ship on to the Chirripó to go to West Africa to take bananas back, I looked out through the porthole on the first morning I was there after a night's sleep, and what do I see? I see a Newry coal boat, the Olive, loading coal to take back to Newry. So that has been a traditional trading route. And of course, the one thing we haven't lost is the Fisher name. The Fisher name is still in our area. John Fisher Sr.
John's a member of our group.
Of the group, yeah.
Yeah.
So the name is perpetuated as well.
It's funny that you mentioned Garston, and again, it goes back to, as I always say, in Newry, you only have to scrape the surface to get the links. And I was talking to Patricia Keenan, a girl that works in Clonray Lighting, and her father, Patrick Hughes, was the last Newry seaman to lose his life. He was actually killed in Garston, loading the Walnut in 1973.
That was relatively,
just before she was sold. And Patricia was just talking about it the other day, and she was saying that family members go over to Garston around the anniversary time.
Yeah.
And, you know, it gives them a sort of a comfort feeling.
Absolutely.
Helps their grieving, you know.
Absolutely. When I think of Garston, one of the things that strikes me, what I remember, shipping into it at night time and going through the locks that take you into Garston, and the Chirripó, my boat, just slowly going through, and the lights of Garston's port there surrounding us. A scene of almost Dickensian romanticism. It's absolutely lovely.
Well, as you know, Rowan, there was absolutely nothing romantic about it.
No, it was tough.
You know?
The boats were cold. I think the memory I have, in my boat when I sailed, I had a turf-burning fire on my boat and oil lamps, which was a kind of tribute in my own mind's eye to the past, but at the same time, it was quite warm and romantic on my small boat.
Yeah.
But those boats were buckets. They were iron. They were dusty. They were dirty. They were cold. It was awful.
Paddy McCann talks about it. Paddy comes to the school visits with us.
Yes.
And he tells the children of his times as a young lad, starting at 15. And one of the things he talks about is what you're after saying, with the coming back after a weekend and the ship absolutely freezing.
Freezing.
And the condensation on
Water
the
on the
bulkheads
inside.
and your clothes damp. And then he said you went out onto the deck for the watch and coming out of the forecastle head, and you'd be watching the bridge for the fellas to give you the wire to make a run for it. And he said within minutes you'd be soaked.
Soaked again.
And that was you for the next 4 hours.
One of the, when I was a boy, when I was 19, I went to, my first voyage out was on the Ben Line steamer, the Ben Doran.
Yeah.
And I went to the Far East on her. And in the middle of the South China Sea, the Ben Doran would be going through the gales, and she'd sink the front quarter of the ship underneath, then come up washing her face and throwing the spray to the left and the right. And I used to love going to the Monkey Island, the highest point on the ship, as high up as you could go, and stand there looking out at all of that occurring. And do you know something? The thought of Newry was never ever far from my mind as I stood in the Monkey Island. Something bred into us, I think. The sea blew on us and made us what we are.
Well, that's another thing as well, Rowan, that I think it's important to foster within the younger generation a sense of civic identity and civic pride, which I would proffer at this point in time we really don't have.
No, we don't have. We don't have. We don't have. But I mean, I think the things you're doing, those children you have visited in the schools up and down the area, those visits will not be forgotten. You're putting great lodgements into their memory banks, and they will grow.
Well, I hope so.
What's going on?
But again, Rowan, like it's about stimulating, raising the awareness. The same with the Blue Circle plaques.
Yes.
Last December, if it gets people asking, who was Raymond Kelly? Who was Max Blaney? Oh, incidentally, just when we talk about those two gentlemen, Raymond Kelly's portrait, as you know, hangs in the town hall.
Yes.
But there's nothing there to tell you anything about Raymond Kelly.
That's true. That's true.
And there's no mention of Max Blaney at all.
That's true.
So we have made a request to the council, who I have to say give us great support in every way they can. We have made a request to have, number one, Max Blaney's portrait put in the town hall.
Of course.
And 2 plaques, one underneath each one.
Saying what?
To let Rowan Hand and everyone else know why they are there, who they were, and what they did.
Well done, sir. How do people join you?
They can get in touch with us by email, Newry Maritime Association.
That's the best one.
.com.
Newry Maritime Association.com. That's your website.
Yeah.
Newry Maritime Association.com. I wish you well. And then, have you another?
Well, we have a Facebook page.
Facebook, Newry Maritime Association.
Newry Maritime again, and we can be contacted there. And as I say, Rowan, it's great to have people like yourself. There's yourself, Cormac Campbell, Brian Hyland, and Kevin McAllister. And between you, we get access to print media, radio,
It's our
TV.
town. It's our city. And
well, that's true.
We're proud that you guys are doing what you're doing. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Go
you,
well.
Rowan.
Take care.
Thank you.
Music, sir.